lot on with some of the newcomers, especially if you're on lifetime membership and all that. We talk a lot about FVGs, and it's like my favorite topic these days. And even like the market is always about, like I said earlier, efficiency and balance and order. All right. And ICT concept, I have to give them credit for it, right? This whole fair value cap, it really freaking works. I suggest that you guys, are you going to be 100% on your trades because you learn FVG? No. Okay. It's a concept. It's a system. All right. But so we published this chart yesterday, right? And we talked about, and you can combine ICT concepts with patterns. Patterns still work. Cup and handles still work. Falling wedges still work. But we talked about, okay, well, you created this FVG down here, and we talked about 722.91 as a potential target for Meta, right? For Meta, and they hit 723.62. So there was, on this drop here, it created this FVG, right? This FVG right here, okay? And you can see instantaneously this morning when the market opened, it shot up to go take out that gap real quick, okay? And when you see a wick off that gap or off this fair value gap, it's time to walk away from the trade. I mean, as much as you want it higher, it's pretty much time to walk away at this point. And so they took out that gap. But guess what, folks? You got a gap sitting up here that they may or may not want to take. Of course, there are gaps, fair value gaps all the way down here, right? But we're not really talking about all that. But the point is this too. When you see on the 4-hour Meta here, all right, let's just go back to why this dip got wicked off, right? There was a fair value gap right here. You see this fair value gap, all right, back that was created on June 24th. You see this wick off here. So when they chop it down, it's not always like sellers. It's just algos, right? It's just algos. It's just all they're manipulating the stock to create liquidity and make it balanced. Okay, so it's about efficiency, and so they took out this FVG here, and guess what? Pop, right? Pop right away, and then guess what? Well, so now so this FVG is gone, right? But look at this FVG on this knife here. Right, this knife here, they created this FVG we were tracking yesterday, right? And they failed it. They failed that FVG gap yesterday only to take it out after Google earnings came out, right? Once the Google earnings came out, they took that FVG, inversed it at the 709 dip here this morning perfectly, right? Inversed it, and then boom. So but unfortunately, you still got that FVG that's still sitting there. There's a slight little, about a couple pennies that it didn't fill. So I wouldn't be surprised that it has to come back here to 709, maybe on a dip here, just to take out that FVG and then ramp it back up. So you can, unless something bad happens in the market, so you can expect something like this, like a false breakdown, and then move up. Now, of course, when it moves down, it's likely to create an FVG gap as well. And you can obviously track this not just on the 4-hour, right? And depending on which time frame you want to trade, right? I mean, if you want to trade off the I like to trade off the 4-hour, smaller trades, 30-minute, all right? So let's just take a look at why coin is being a jerk right now. All right, so coin, let's see, I was tracking the 1 hour, right? All right, coin obviously got rejected here. Okay, here at this trend line here. So that's not very, it's not really an FVG kind of rejection. It's just a trend line rejection, and that tends to happen, right? So why did we wick off here? Obviously, there was a small gap to fill here, all right? So there was FVG probably right about here. Okay, so you see there's a FVG gap, and it held as support. Okay, so now on this breakdown here, all right, so since Meta's been dropping pretty hard here, right? So look at this, all right, so let me move this out of the way. All right, so on this drop here, when it hit 444 coin, right, it created what? This whole fair value gap, crazy, right? This whole fair value gap. And guess what, right? So once they dumped it, boom, they go up, take out that FVG, come back, right? And manipulate it back down while creating a trend line, okay? Again, right here, once it dropped, Okay, you created another FVG here. All right, here, right here, about 416-ish. All right, and then guess what? Right, everybody bearish. Boom, take out that FVG just to knife it down. Right, again, trend line resistance. Right, so that FVG is gone, and so you still have this FVG sitting up here at this point here. So my point is, it's obviously very, very tricky. But you know, if you just, this is not even using any moving averages or whatnot, but if you just use the system or go learn about it, DM me if you have questions. Okay, I'd love to help. But this is extremely efficient way of trading here. So guess what? On this rip here yesterday on coin after hours or whatever. All right. So you created this FEG, right? This candle here, this candle here created this FEG. Guess what they had to do right away in the morning, right? So coin popped it in the morning, right? And popped and dropped right back down to take out this FEG, and now the market is the market is balanced here. All right, so it's stuck here. I created this fair value gap and it can't go away. So you created that. So they dropped it down, right, and then wicked off. All right, trend line rejection. All right, if it's a trend line rejection, doesn't necessarily mean it's a dead stock. It just means that it has to consolidate more. All right, so you can do it on, let's say, 5-minute chart if you like. All right, look at this monstrosity. Guess what happened, right? This big old drop here created a fat FEG block right here. All right, it went up to try to take it, but it missed. Okay, missed out right here. All right, couldn't get past the pre-market support here. All right, and so guess what? If this doesn't fail, then it's likely to go reattempt, shake out everybody here, take out this 5-minute FEGs. You see all these 5-minute FEGs created? Okay. Yes, there are times there's just a simple rejection, but sometimes, okay, right here. So this run up here created this FEG. You see that? Okay. So once it dipped, fill the FEG, run it right back, trap all the bulls up here, drop it right back down, right? And then possibly run it right back up, right? So this FEG is gone for the day, all right? So now you got to contend with this freaking FEG, all right? Right here, okay? If this breaks out, we go right back up here. If it fails, then we need to retest down here. Now, guess what? You created this FEG. Okay, so right here, they already created this FEG. They took it out on that wick. You see this little wick here? Balanced. Okay, now it's balanced. Now it can go back up. So let's test it. Okay, let's see if it fails here or breaks out and then goes back to 396. Okay, you can do this on any time frame you like. But if you're going to trade on a 5-minute time frame for scalping purposes, then you better just stick with the 5-minute time frame. What I like to do is always, when we swing, guys, I always try to look at the 1 hour, 1 hour up to the 4 hour. You want to identify the patterns on the 1 hour or the 4 hour, all right, for the swings. If you want to scalp, feel free to do your 0 DTEs on the 5-minute chart. So if we go to, let's just say, for example, QQQ, right? All right, pretty efficient. Okay, so let's see what happened here. Fair value gap right here. All right, so you see this. All right, this creates a fair value gap right here, and they took it out with these wicks. Okay, took it out with the wicks. Okay, trap some bears. All right, guess what? You created this FEG about 10:40 a.m. Okay, guess why the market is holding this area? It's invert. It came back to take out this imbalance created here, so that it can bounce. Okay, so now what? On this way down, we created this FEG. Okay, so you can see why we keep wicking off it, failing it. This is a fake dip here, fake dip here, fake dip here. All right, rejection here, 565. Right, now it's stuck here. So you can do two things here, right? 0 DTE up to 565.03. Right, if it fails, you get out. Okay, or you put. You go put and you say, all right, 0 DTE puts to 564.49. Anything lower is icing on the cake, right? Because there's no FEGs down here, all right? So likely it can hold support here, okay? So you can do this with, it's efficient. It gets a little tricky, All right, you just gotta have to have a good eye. All right, for this. Okay, so let's keep going here since I have a bunch of you guys on. All right, this is a free lesson for you guys. Google. All right, screw Google. Just kidding. Okay, so Google 1 hour. Okay, so now Google's choppy as hell, right? So you created this FVG here. Okay, all right, so there's their FVG. That's going to be major rejection. Okay, and guess what? Dude, on this way up, Google has massive amount of 1 hour FVG sitting all over the place. All right. Okay. So you got this FVG support here at 188. This is also why we actually jumped from this level here. On the earnings, it popped up, right? Popped up. And then it took out this FVG created back on July 21st. Okay. Took that out, faked everybody out. Actually, if you guys notice, it filled this gap here at 186. Okay. So efficiency, right? Before it can go higher, they want to fill the gap. So this is obviously a very volatile move, right? So boom, take out that FVG, run it up. Okay. Wick off here. All right. And let's see. And yep, you got this fat FVG sitting here. All right. So you got this fair value gap sitting here, which, right, you see this candle here, fair value gap here, and knifed right through it. So that's gone, right? So that's goner. Okay. So let's examine, why did we reject 199? Was it just lack of buyers at 199, or is there something more mischievous? Like, for example, when it was $211 back on February 5, right here, you have a 4-hour FEG. All right. And it just cannot break into it to take it all out. Now, if you look at this, it might be a little bit bullish, because even though it failed to 199, 200 is what? 200 basically your psychological resistance, right? Okay, so not too bad. So let's go down here. Let's say you want to go for a dip buy because you love Google, not like me. All right. So again, we took out this 4-hour FEG, no big deal. All right. Obviously, you're going to have support at 186 because of that wick. All right. And let's see. Let's say if it breaks 186. Okay. So let's take a look at these candles here. 186. They filled all that. They filled this. They filled this. There's one here. Okay. 184. All right. Which is also an area of support right here. Right. Okay. So if you just keep scrolling backwards, you'll start seeing where all these FEGs. So where do you want to buy Google? Probably 184, honestly. If it can't break through this, then it's likely to revisit this support here, because you left a data low, right? You left a data low, and sometimes these data low has to be taken. Just like CPI data highs, these highs and lows gets taken because of liquidity problems, okay? Or just simply balance, all right? All right, so let's take a look at Tesla. Is Tesla really that unpredictable? I mean, yes, certainly a lot of volatility, but it's about efficiency too with Tesla. And Tesla is absolutely a beast for doing it, all right, to kill premiums, all right? So on this drop yesterday, we have a massive FEG block here on the 4-hour, and we have a massive 4-hour FEG block here. Okay, let's say you want to go calls, right? And because don't go into calls. I make this mistake a lot too in the past, and I still sometimes catch myself doing it, right? Is that, okay, it's holding psychological support at 300. Let me buy calls, right? That sometimes is the stupidest thing in the world, because once it breaks that 300, you get out and they pop it right back up like at 298. Have you seen that before? Of course you have, right? You're a trader. So so you fall victim to that all the time. So it's just chilling here at 302, 301, enticing buyers. But obviously, you pretty much want to only get into this trade, let's say, if it can get back above 310 on the 4-hour, okay? Then if it inverses the 310, then it can likely go higher to take out this fair value gap. And eventually it will, okay? But unfortunately, at this point, if you look at the 4-hour on Tesla, all right, let's go back to April, June lows, right? Is there any FEG sitting here? And there was, right? So you had a massive chop in the beginning of July. There was this massive FEG sitting right here that acted as resistance, but became support here. You guys see that? All right, so let's go on a daily chart. Where is Tesla's FVG support? Not counting, moving averages and all that stuff, right? Okay, so right now on the daily, it's working on this FVG, which actually took. Okay, so that's why it's kind of holding on to this level, because it actually took out this FVG that was created back on July 9th. All right, so let's go back down here. Let's go further down here. There should be quite a bit of FVGs. Yes, there is right here. Okay, you can see, all right, when it broke out in April lows, all right, broke out, created this FVG, and that FVG became solid support, right? You guys seeing this? All right. So it became solid support, breakout, comes back, retest that support, got everybody bearish, right? And then boom, takes off, right? But on this way down, guess what happened, right? On this way down, you created this FVG here, right? And that FVG was taken on June 24th. They wicked it, they gapped it up, right? They gapped it up, took the FVG, right, and then sliced it down and dropped the whole thing, right? Okay, so on this way down, and then here, right, on this way down here, you created this FVG, okay? So you created all these imbalances up here. Guess what I have to do? Bear trap everybody here, okay, right? And then run it into FVG, reject that daily FVG, okay? Finally breaks through, just to take out this FVG, couldn't hold it, but guess what? On the way up, it created another FVG, right? Son of a bitch. And then guess what happens, right? And then comes back down, okay? All right, because it has to take out this FVG. Are you guys getting my point here? It has to take out that FVG, all right? Slice it back down, becomes resistance, becomes support, inverse it. And the unfortunate thing is it's filled this FVG, but it has not. Oh, wait, did it fill this FVG today? Oh, okay, that's why. 338. There it is. 338 yesterday at the market highs when it popped at 300. Where was it, guys? All right, 338.88. All right, so that was this FVG here. What was the low of this candle here? 338.10. Okay, so every pop into that FVG was simply to take out that imbalance. It went 388.38 perfectly and rejected. All right. Okay. And then came back down, take out this whole FVG created here completely, and then took out this FVG today. So you want to buy a dip? Yeah. Some of you guys said 273 might be the target. We don't know. But just know that on the way down, it's got to go back. Like if you're looking at it from a daily perspective, on the way down, it's going to create 5-minute, 30-minute, 1-hour FVGs, right? So it's going to go chop you up and down, up and down, up and down until it gets to the final destination where they actually want the stock price to be, which could eventually be 273, or you find support at 289-ish, all right? Things like that, okay? So it's very... So don't look at the market as, oh my God, this is mysterious. Why is this moving this way? Sometimes it's very frustrating too. But it's the algos, right? It's the algos doing algo things. Okay. And got an evening star on SPY today. All right. So coin, look at that. Why is coin bouncing here? Inversed, right? So coin, July 23rd yesterday, okay, created this 30-minute FVG right here, okay? So you're still holding above that FVG. You break that FVG, things get a little worrisome, all right? Stay above that FVG, not too bad, all right? Let's go back to 1 hour. What was it, 4 hour? What were oh, shoot, hold on, there it is, okay. So reattempting, right? Reattempting. So I bet this dip earlier. Let's look at the 5-minute real quick. I think on the way, yeah. So on the way, so here we go, right? We were just talking about this a few minutes ago. It's likely to go take, you see it just took it out. Son of a bitch. Look at that. Okay, so done. You had that FEG right here, and they just wicked off of the FEG right here. Okay. What's the low of this candle here? 396.57. high of this candle is 396.50. So you got 7 cents to fill, right? So likely it's going to go up 7 more cents to take out. Now, what you love to see, of course, for our purposes, of course, is that now that it's actually bouncing from a higher low intraday, okay, you created this FVG here about 20 minutes ago, right? All right, so you went up, took out that FVG. Hopefully you inverse it at $395 or $394.99. That becomes support. And then we can go up to go potentially take out this FVG. If we take out, there it is. You guys see that? Boom, right? Took out this FVG just like that. There wasn't buyers, right? It's just algo, right? There was no buyers to that little pop you just saw on your screen here, all right? It was just algos, right? So you take that out, all right? Okay, so now where can we go from here? You're scalping coin, all right? So this dip here, we talked about this, right? So they went up and took it. They didn't take this FVG here. So you got opportunity for a scalp here to a minimum of 397.76 or 398.55, okay? If it wants to go take out this FVG here. If the market squeezes, then we go for 402, right? And take out this whole entire block, okay? But now the problem is, was that little pop just to take out the FVG to go lower? And that's the question you have to ask. And that's where you sit and you wait and you see what happens here. Okay, so we took out that balance perfectly, all right? Little pop, right? And then now if it builds it as support, right? If it inverses this 5-minute FVG, all right, then boom, we're going to see 397. We'll get 397 back, okay? And or take out 398.55 and or double top the 399 trendline rejection and or goes up here. Or I don't know, coin just goes back to zero. Who knows, okay? But you can see, I hope this is beneficial, okay? Let's see, let's go back to the 1 hour. Okay. So right now on the 1 hour, you don't have a ton of FVG, but it's the 5-minute FVGs that's sitting around everywhere, right? Above, below, right, that I just showed you. These are the imbalances, all right, that they work to clear out. And if you don't understand what you're seeing, or you don't understand the price action, it's just, or for traders who don't understand this concept, they're like mystified, right? You get mystified. Oh my crap, why did it do that? We don't know. It's chop, you know. And sometimes things are just really, really choppy too. You know, there is that too. Sometimes markets are just garbage. That happens too. All right. So Google, right? Check out Google, right? So Google is now freaking, it's only up $1.35. Like, how impressive is that, right? Is that really that impressive, right? Google 210 my butt, right? Google up $1 today. Congrats, bulls. Okay, this thing's going. I think this is going for earnings reset. All right, Google, right? So Google went up to try to fill this gap, also, right? So it's in the gap. It did hit the gap, right? Obviously, you know, whatever rejection 199. We just talked about this earlier. You got a nasty dark cover candle, all right? And so remember what I said. I think Google can come back to 184. Okay, if it stays below 195, it's likely to come down at least to retest this support here. All right, and they'll probably knife it down in like tomorrow morning or something like that, real quick. Whenever you see those sudden drops, it's usually to take out imbalances, right? Okay, so now you get this. So let's go back to coin, all right? You go back to coin on the 5-minute, all right? So what's it doing? Okay, took out that FVG and rejecting it. Okay, and you got an ugly candle sitting there, all right? But my upside target today, if this holds, probably 398, and we'll see what happens at 399. Right, but eventually this has got to move up to take the 402, unless Bitcoin dumps. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I did record this session. If you guys want to hear it again, I'll put it in the chat room. Hope you guys found it useful. Okay. I'll get out of your ear now.